What's going on, fantasy world, man? It's my favorite episode of the week. You know what it is. I told you so. I always go over my top 5 picks for starts last week, my top 5 picks for benches last week, and we come to our episode of I Told You So. Week 7 was a bad week for me. Week 8, I was getting a little bit better. I think we went 5 for 10. But this week, I was hot. In week 9, man, the soup goes 8 for 10. That's right. So we'll start with our sits first. The only sit I got wrong was Aaron Jones, man. Look, Aaron Jones had 14 touches in the last 3 games. I'm thinking it was the hamstring. Maybe it was game flow. I don't know what it was. But this week, they was giving that man a rock. Look, is Aaron Jones healthy? Must be. Guy got 24 touches. He rushed 20 times for 73 yards and a TD. He caught the ball 4 receptions for 26 yards. He did lose a fumble, which hurt a little. Ended up with 15.9 fantasy points in standard scoring and was the number 8 running back overall this week. Aaron Jones, you proved me wrong. But hey, I love it because you got 24 touches and I got you in like 10 leagues of my 23. That's right, man. So I'm loving what I saw this weekend out of Aaron Jones. Jordan Addison, 5 receptions, 52 yards on 7 targets, had 7.7 fantasy points in standard scoring this week. I told y'all to get him out your lineups. No more Kirk Cousins. They had a backup quarterback in there that was serviceable, not that guy. Luckily, Josh Dobbs came to the rescue this week. He will be better off later on in the season with Josh Dobbs' play. Josh Dobbs is not Kirk Cousins, but he is very serviceable, meaning, in my opinion, he'll be a top 12 play, and Jordan Addison will be a wide receiver 2 until Jay Jettis gets back. Jay Jettis gets back, I downgrade Addison to a wide receiver 3. Either way, he got you 7.7 fantasy points. I told you to bench him. Hopefully you did. Puka Nacua, I told y'all so. Look, man, went off for 3 receptions for 32 yards. Anything in that offense we should have benched this week just because of the quarterback play. We knew it wasn't going to be good, but it was abysmal. I'm talking about that guy looked terrible. Ripping, he was not ripping. All right. Disrespectful, it was what it was, man. Ended up with 4.7 fantasy points out of Puka Nacua this week off of 7 targets. I told y'all, get him out your lineups. I hope you listen to the soup. Geno Smith. I'm watching the game the whole time. Every time Geno threw the ball, I'm like, bench Geno Smith. I told y'all so. I told y'all so. Geno scored 3.68 fantasy points this week, man. Had 157 yards through the air, had an interception and a fumble. That Baltimore defense is serious. I told y'all they was number 1 for a reason, and they showed it. I hope y'all didn't go against what Hot Soup said and start Geno Smith this week because you was going to be kicking yourself in the butt. Look, our number 5 off the board was Tony Pollard, man. I told y'all, man. Dak was going to be throwing that rock through the air this week. Y'all seen it. CeeDee Lamb went the hell off. Dak Prescott went off through the air. Just what I thought was going to happen. I told y'all the game script. Dak was going to have to throw to stay in the game, and that's exactly what happened. Tony Pollard went off for 12 rushes, 51 yards, 3 receptions, 12 yards, had 15 touches for 7.8 fantasy points in standard scoring. I told you so. Our number 1 start ended up the number 3 overall receiver this week was CeeDee Lamb. I told y'all what was going to happen. Dak was going to be hot. They was going to be throwing that rock to stay in the game. And exactly what I said happened. Check it out, man. The Eagles went up. Dallas went right back. Eagles went up. Dallas went right back. Look, there was a slugfest. I knew it was going to be a high-scoring game. CeeDee Lamb helped with that. Man had 16 targets. Listen, CeeDee Lamb is a must start from here on out. I know they was looking not like they should at the beginning of the season, but they got that bus rolling. That man had 11 receptions, 191 yards, 16 targets, 22.6 fantasy points. Number 3 receiver off the board this week. Overall in scoring was my number 1 pick. I told you so. Number 2, Josh Jacobs, number 2 in fantasy scoring for running backs this week. Man had 26 rushes. They was feeding him often early. I told y'all what was going to happen. Fired everybody in the building. New offensive coordinator. They're going to be running the offense through Josh Jacobs. Until we get a quarterback back that is capable of getting Devontae Adams the ball, Josh Jacobs are going to be running that offense through 26 touches, 98 yards, 2 TDs, 21.8 fantasy points in standard scoring. Josh Jacobs, number 2, score for running backs this week. I told you so. Number 3 on my list was Dak Prescott. Woo! Number 2 quarterback for the week in standard scoring, Dak Prescott. 374 yards through the air, 3 TD passes, man, has 6 rushes for 14 yards, 28.36 fantasy points in standard scoring. I told y'all Dak was going to do it. When I'm telling y'all this was going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm hot right now. The soup is hot. It's on the stove. All right. The burner is on high right now. Yeah. Number 4 on my board was Garrett Wilson. Now, he did not have a great game, but he did not have a bad game. Decent floor, 10 points in fantasy scoring standard league, 7 receptions for 80 yards. He had a couple of drops. Man, listen, the quarterback play was terrible last night. I'm telling you, man, that Monday night game was terrible. All right. Garrett Wilson's going to have way better days than that. But the fact that he hit 7 receptions for 80 yards, he had enough targets. Look, he was number 23 in fantasy scoring for receivers, which is a wide receiver to low end. He's going to have way better games than that. If he wouldn't have dropped a couple of those passes, he would have been well over 100 yards, and we would have been talking about I told you so. So with that said, he's more of a wash for me. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I definitely didn't lose on it either. Kareem Hunt, number 19 overall for running backs this week, which is a RB2. He ended up with 10 fantasy points, 14 rushes, 38 yards, and had him a tud. Kareem Hunt didn't have the game that I thought he would, but he definitely gave us a decent floor. I told you so. The only person I was wrong on was Aaron Jones. That was it. Everything else was a hit. If you really want to talk numbers, I went 9 for 10. So you got to come check me out for our top 5 starts, top 5 sits later on this week. I'm hot right now. The soup is hot. Come check out your boy. If you're looking for the recipe for your soup, I got the ingredients.